all my beautiful YouTubers out there, welcome back to another episode of Marvin's Room. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. To the new subscribers, welcome to the channel. Got a great one for you guys today. I know you seen the title problem and you were like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what he says. Oh my God. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys always stay tuned in and locked in with me. Hit that subscribe button, continue to follow me, continue to like the video, do everything for the algorithm so that we can get this shit out to the masses and help change people's lives. As always, my contact information is in the description below. Please feel free to reach out to me if you would love to work with me one-on-one, because I would love to work with you one-on-one to help you get some good results. If you guys have any topics that you want me to go over, please don't hesitate to leave it in the description below or send me an email for any videos you would like me to make discussing whatever topic, because I'm making these videos for you guys, not for me. So guys, stay tuned in and locked in. Now, on to today's video. Got this banger, back with this heat. We are talking about manifesting, and especially around, well, this is really around anything, okay? But really specifically pertaining to specific person, right? Because we all know specific person is like the biggest shit, you know, when it comes to relationships and period in general, just the biggest shit, you know, when it comes to, you know, YouTube a lot of times, and this law of attraction stuff, whatever the case may be. Are you doing what Neville talks about? Are you still being the old man? Because I realize a lot of you guys have one foot in the door and you have one foot out the door, meaning you have one foot in the world and you have one foot in the spiritual realm. And what I mean by that is some of you guys are listening to me talk about law of attraction. Some of you guys are listening to other coaches talking about law of attraction, law of assumption, the laws of the universe, all of that good stuff. But you guys are trying to conflate them together, right? You guys are trying to say, oh, I'm going to follow LOA, but I'm going to listen to this dating coach. Oh, I'm going to follow LOA, but I'm going to listen to maybe this pastor that's disseminating the message to the masses. Who are you listening to? Do you have one foot in the spiritual world? And then do you have one foot in the physical, carnal, mundane world? You cannot serve two masters. And this is a huge mistake I see with a lot of you guys following my advice or another LOA teacher's advice versus following a relationship, dating coach advice, or whoever the case may be. Yo, I want y'all to understand something, man. A lot of these dating coaches out here, in my opinion, and I'm not knocking nobody. I don't want shots fired. I don't want no shots fired at nobody. But let's be real. The problem I have with a lot of dating coaches that give advice on YouTube or just in general is some of these guys have an agenda to push, okay? You want to be extremely careful about who it is that you're following, because a lot of these dating coaches have an agenda to push. Whether they're women, they may be speaking a lot of misandry about men. And for those that don't know what misandry means, misandry is a term that means prejudice against men. So there's a lot of dating coaches out here that give literally the worst advice when it comes to dealing with a man or getting an ex back or how to get revenge, all of this toxic stuff, right? And the same thing goes for men. There's men out here that are putting out videos that are extremely misogynistic and saying different things and going about it. Now, again, this doesn't apply to all. Of course, I'm not talking about all women or all men and what I'm talking about. So we got to use some critical thinking and some common sense, guys. But some of the stuff that I'm saying, because I don't just study LOA and we're in the world. Like, I love how people that study LOA, they think they're like above all. They think they're like all, like I'm holy. Like, I don't see what's going on in the world. Why would I see and pay attention to what's going on in the world? Because I know it's not real. I'm not in the matrix. You know what I mean? Like, you know, those people that try to act all holy and above everything, you know. But me, I'm not blind to what's going on in the world. I see what's going on in the world. And I'm very aware of, you know, blue pill. I'm very aware of terms, the term red pill. I've worked with people who know about these terms, and I see the kinds of mistakes and errors they make when they follow whichever it is. You know, but I want you to be extremely careful at who you're following, who you're role modeling your life after, what advice you're taking from these dating coaches, whether it's a man dating coach, or whether it's a woman dating coach. Because like I said, there's so much toxicity out here on the web and so many people giving terrible advice that's going to keep you single and is going to keep you looking for the wrong thing, telling you to do X, Y, and Z, telling you to go somebody. They're giving you worldly, mundane advice. They're telling you to gaslight people. They're giving you, again, worldly, mundane advice. They're not giving you spiritual advice. And you guys got to be aware of that. Because you guys get to choose. And like I said, I've worked with people in the past that have come from a red pill space or a blue pill space or the manosphere, whatever you want to call it, or the woman side of things, where they come from listening to toxic advice that women have gave them, whatever the case may be. And the damage that these people have done, the good thing about it is the damage can be reversed. That's the great thing about it. So I want you guys to not be afraid if you've been that person that has taken the wrong advice, whether you were red pill, blue pill, whatever the case may be, whether you went to a woman and you got the advice about dealing with a guy, or you can wipe your hands and things can be reversed and things can be made whole. As we all know, when you know and study law of attraction, when you know about law of assumption. And this is the big piece that why I don't recommend a lot of you guys to listen to these dating coaches and even some of these pastors that are out here, or preachers that are out here, men or women, and some of the messages that they have that they're disseminating to the masses, is because a lot of these guys, especially dating coaches, they really don't know about law of attraction. They don't know about law of assumption. They don't know that they don't focus on whatever you think, speak, and feel is what you're going to bring into your life. They don't know about whatever you assume. I understand, like, when you're in this community, you start to think that everybody knows about law of attraction, law of assumption. But something you always got to remember when you're in this community is, I know when you look at the numbers, you might look on YouTube and think, oh, this person has 100,000 subscribers and they're talking about LOA. Or look at this community that I'm in on Facebook. Or, oh, this person has 1 million subscribers. Some of those subscribers out there that have 1 million subscribers on YouTube talking about LOA. Guys, you got to understand, there's over 7 billion people on this earth. Literally over 7 billion people on this earth. People that know about LOA, believe it or not, and the people that know about Neville Goddard, is literally probably about 0.0000000, whatever that number is, of the population. That's literally how many people know about Neville. And I know it may seem like everybody knows because you might be so consumed with Neville material or Abraham Hicks material, but most people don't know about that. Most people don't know. A lot of people still think shit is just at chance. People think shit's just a coincidence, or shit, you can't really control shit. You know, most people are still going on biblical principles from thousands of years ago because they really don't understand and never took the time to break down the Bible and what it really means and how we really are gods, and what those stories mean, and how we can create, you know, how we can turn water into wine, how we can live in the end, how we can do revision, as Neville talks about it. They're still operating from that viewpoint of, oh, things are out of our control. Oh, we don't know what's going to happen. If God wills it to be, then they don't know about what we know about. And this is the problem I have with a lot of dating coaches, is because they're giving you carnal, mundane advice, telling you, you know, oh, you can't get your ex back. You know, oh, girl, just move on. Or telling the dude, oh, just move on. Not knowing that we can really potentially heal the people that we deal with, whether it's an ex, whether it's a new person. We can heal ourselves, not knowing we really have more power than they know, and they think everything is just that chance, and it's not that. And this is the big problem that I have a lot of these dating coaches, and even some of these preachers, because even some of these preachers, they'll talk and they'll say things as if everything is just out of your hands, like everything is in God's hands 100%. But something that they don't realize is that we are God, you know, and this is something that we just are now starting to see over the past 10 years, because before, so many people you would see, they had bad ideas about money. They thought money was evil. And you know that verse from the Bible, the love of money is the root of all evil. And we have all of these preconceived notions and ideas that have been passed down from generation to generation. And we grow up with these things, and then we realize why our lives are the way that they are. but we have to get unbrainwashed. And a lot of these pastors and preachers, unintentionally, I might add, because some unintentionally don't know, and they're still spewing all of the knowledge that they learned from all of those decades ago or whatever happened, and they're trying to tell you to live your life that way. It's no different than college. People think nowadays college is super important, thinking like, but they don't understand is life is not lived now how life was lived 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Yeah, college was a big deal 50 years ago, 100 years ago, in order to become successful, or in order to do this, in order to do that. But nowadays, we don't need college. We don't need college to be successful. We don't need college to become a multimillionaire. We don't need that kind of education to get far in life. And people are waking up now, and they're realizing, oh, I don't need to go to school for 4 years or 8 years or 10 years or whatever to make a living, to make a lot of money, whatever the case may be. Yeah, that might have been the case 20, 50 years ago, 100 years ago and beyond. That might have been the case. But in 2022, no, things are different. Whatever worked making money back then necessarily doesn't work right now. So we got to move with the times. And same thing with these pastors and preachers. Yeah, preaching a sermon this way back in 1950 or back in the early 1900s or back in the 1800s, that shit might have worked back then, but now you guys got to understand, this is 2022. Understand the knowledge is out there. Understand that these metaphysical teachers, in my opinion, they've done a way better job. People like Florence Scovel Shinn, people like Catherine Ponder, Neville, Emil Quay, they've done a way better job, to me, in my opinion, than a lot of these high-profile pastors have in breaking down law of attraction, law of assumption, and breaking down how to really manifest things in your life, how to really pray. Because a lot of these pastors and preachers, they teach you to pray outside of yourself, to look outside of yourself for the glory. Pray to a God in the sky that has control over everything. And I think a lot of preachers and pastors miss the mark with this because they don't realize we are that God. We are that power. We are the universe. We have that shit inside of us. We can turn water into wine. We can turn fish and bread and feed 5,000. We can learn to do that. We can create alchemy. But the problem I have with old traditional Christianity is they teach you to not look inside yourself as God. They teach you to look outside yourself and teach you that you don't have the power, that the invisible God in the sky has the power. And so that's why I'm saying be very careful about who you listen to, the advice you get. Be very careful about these dating coaches, because a lot of these dating coaches, they have an opinion, they are pushing, and they're giving you carnal, mundane advice from pain that they've went through, from hurt that they've experienced. And a lot of these dating coaches are quitting. I've seen a lot of dating coaches on the women's side quitting because they see how difficult it is to deal with some of the women that are coming in their situations and, the unrealistic expectations. But that's because they're approaching dating and relationships and marriage. They're approaching it from a worldly, mundane perspective. When you know about law of attraction, when you know about law of assumption, you no longer can approach dating and relationships, money, work, business. You cannot approach any area of your life as the old man, as Neville says. You cannot approach life with one foot in and the other foot out. No, you have to jump all the way in. You have to jump in the pool. You have to jump off the balcony. You have to take that jump, that leap of faith, and understand that the parachute will open when it's time for you to open, but you got to make the first move. You got to jump. And this hurts me when I see people that come to me, is because I've seen people, like I said, I've seen people come from this space, whether it's red pill, blue pill, whether they're watching these, men online giving toxic advice, they're watching women online giving toxic advice, and then they come to me. I have to undo their thinking and tell them, yo, listen, don't listen to that. Don't, because that's going to ruin your relationship. You know about spiritual law now. You know what that means. You got to take responsibility. And this hurt me because, as some of you may know, I said in one of my other videos, I don't know how many weeks ago it was, or a month or 2 months ago it was, I was in a group and I heard there was a very famous lady who's been on TV and she's on YouTube and she has a lot of money. And I was in a group listening to her give relationship advice to a woman wanted to get her husband back, and she basically told the woman all this stuff to do, and in my opinion, the advice she gave her was completely wrong. And I was just sitting there in the meeting, in the Zoom meeting, thinking to myself, like, how could you know about, and this lady knew about law of attraction. She knew about law of assumption. She knew about Neville. And I'm thinking, like, this lady is separated from her husband, but legally still married for 5 years, and she wants him back. And you're going to tell her to forget it, move on with the divorce, go buy a dress and go do all of this other stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, what kind of, you don't give mundane advice when you are in the spiritual world. You don't do that. And so this is why I wanted to make this video. Be very careful who you listen to. Just because somebody has 1 million subscribers, or just because somebody's a multimillionaire, just because they've been doing this shit for 20, 30 years, doesn't mean that they're always right. I mean, hell, even some of the shit I say, you may not agree with it, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. I understand that comes with the territory, you know? But I just want you guys to understand, you cannot serve two masters. If you are going to study law of attraction and spirituality, jump in with both feet. Don't try to touch the water. You know how you just stick your foot in the water to see how cold it is? No, don't do that. And then try to keep your other foot on land. If you're going to study spirituality and law of attraction, like they say, you cannot serve two masters. You got to jump in. You got to get naked. I don't want no swimsuits, no boxers, no nothing. You got to get naked, okay? And you got to jump in Alaskan cold ass water. That's how much faith you got to have. That's how you got to really believe. Get naked and just jump in that shit. But I guarantee when you jump in, I guarantee you're going to warm the water. Guarantee you're going to warm the water. This has been another episode of yours truly, Marv's Room. I will see you guys next time. You know where, you know when.